who have just joined this live stream and were coming from the other one. I had a few issues with some things, and I had to, go and sort them out. So I thought, I could switch some stuff around and it'd be fine, and the stream would continue. But fortunately, apparently the universe doesn't like me, or YouTube for that matter. So the broadcast stopped. However unfortunate that was. So yeah, welcome back to this, to the second attempt of live reviewing, the Sonic trailer that was, released. Yeah, as I explained earlier in the, in the earlier timing, what was it? I want to delete you. Oh crap. Yeah, I went through, I probably go back through them, but I went through, the unrealism of, Sonic's run, the awful, god-awful character design, which I will touch upon again. And I also went through... What else did I go through? That was it. I also went through, I also went through... I think that was all I went through, really, was the character design and stuff like that. Yeah. Oh no, that was it. I also talked about, like, the, not just the design of... Oh yeah, that's what I need to do. The next thing I'm gonna go through, is the unrealism of Sonic's run. As we've seen, with, as we've seen with, most things that involve speedsters, what was it? Like the Flash and stuff. The only additional color comes from, their lightning. So Flash's case, it's sort of like an orangey yellow. So that's where the additional color's from. In terms of like an actual streak, it's just red. In Sonic's case, it's red, it's blue, it's white, it's the color of his shoes, it's all of it, and it's like, oh, again, it would take you less time to design it. Anyway, yeah, the next thing is, and this is just my opinion, but it's Sonic's personality. It is awful. I mean, Sonic's always been, like the quippy character, the one who's always the one who's always oh, what's it? The one who's always, trying to get the last laugh. The one who's always making the hero's joke, making the joke out of the bad guys. Here, it's almost like they've tried to make him like Spider-Man, and it's like, I mean, I know Spider-Man's, like a popular character because of his, because of his quips, personality, and his villains and stuff, so forth. And so Sonic, because he was from the era of there was something different other than a Italian plumber jumping from pipes and mushrooms and 3-pixel princesses. But I think they've gone a bit too far with it. Also, I don't know who voices him, but I kind of feel like they're ruining themselves just a tad doing this film. The next thing I wanted to cover is so I'll go back through stuff that I covered in the other one. That was it. Sonic's the lightning. That's it. The lightning that Sonic has. Sonic in the actual in the trailer, he generates lightning. Which, is it's not a bad thing. I understand, why they've gone for that, because it's an interesting choice in the design of the character. But nowhere in the actual video game, or for that matter, any manga, TV show, has he ever generated lightning. And I actually went off to research this, by the way. Sonic does, a lot of running. So he's converting a lot of potential energy into kinetic energy, and vice versa. So he's got a little bit. So he's got a little bit. So he's basically a walking generator for energy. And in order to get electricity, sort of like lightning from energy, you need to break it down and convert it into using a thing called I think it's called a roller mechanism. And the only way that's going to happen is if they actually like physically shove Sonic into a power plant. Which will kill him. But that's beside the point. Anyway, yeah. So having the lightning, and I understand the coloring of it, being blue, but to be honest, I think you could have made it a little bit more accurate by making it like actual, almost looking like lightning. Because then I could have almost forgiven you if you tried to make it look similar to the color of just general lightning. I could have forgiven you for choosing to use it, but you didn't, and I can't. Yeah. Anyway, sorry, it's still a bit early in the morning for. Oh God, dude, excuse me for that. Anyway, holy Jesus, that one hurt. Yeah. Anyway, anyway, yeah. So yeah. So having him generate electricity. But then that brings me on to the next part which is shown in the trailer, which was as Sonic was running, he generated an EMP, which took out. I'd say he was running along a stretch of road. Like a really long stretch of road, which I'd probably say is about maybe. This is going off rough estimates, by the way. I'd say probably double a runway. So double up a runway, like a small runway, and that's what we sort of see him running along in the trailer. And anyway, so we see him running along that, and it generates an EMP, which takes out basically half of like the bottom end of the US. And it's like, how you can't generate an EMP by just simply running. So if you think back to things like Flash. Okay, Flash is a good example because that's all about electricity and lightning and stuff. If you think to Flash doesn't just generate any EMP just because he's running. And he needs a focus point. Sonic just randomly just goes poof, and he's not only is he fine, but he's also like left a little it also looks like he leaves a little shockwave as well. EMPs do not leave shockwaves. I'm getting too much into the science of this, which is why I said it's a bit nitpicky. Yeah. Anyway, blah blah blah. That's the next bit. The ring design. The one of the second biggest characteristics of Sonic is the fact that he collects rings. And in like TV, comics and stuff, he uses them. Um, in this case, he uses them for what does he use them for? He uses them in this case for sweet. Um, he uses them as teleportation. Like oh god, I can't remember to do this. Not the stream. I meant the mission. Yeah, and he uses them as a teleportation thing. Nowhere in the games, the comics, anywhere has it ever had him use rings as a form of teleportation similar to freaking Mario, pretty much. So why the hell they chose to do it like that, I'll never know. Anyway, the next part of the things I wanted to cover is so I've gone through the design, which I'll touch back on again. Gone through that, gone through that. And then go into the checklist. What else did I need to go through? Oh yeah, that was it. There was one bit. There was like two bits of the trailer which I really liked because if they are what I'm thinking, then that is absolutely brilliant. Um, the first redeeming factor, which comes in the form of two actors, funnily enough, is the fact they've got Jim Carrey doing Dr. Robotnik with that amazing mustache. Honestly, if you not go, I'll link it in the description when the stream's done. But if you haven't watched the trailer, go and watch the trailer just for Jim Carrey's mustache. Oh my god, it is amazing. It is quite honestly the greatest mustache I have ever seen televised. The second part is they've got the second actor, sorry, that redeems it is they've got I can't remember the actor's name, but there's an actor on Arrow, CW's Arrow, who plays Damien Dark. They've got him in it as well as I believe his name's General Bennington in that little army camp, and just having Jim Carrey basically having Jim Carrey start calling him basic in front of not only all his men, but yeah, in front of his men and to his face in such a different character is amazing. The second, what I hope is true redeeming factor is um in the final sort of ending towards the end of the trailer, they've got Sonic looking at his wrist, tapping his foot, saying, doing like the Scyfall Speedy character joke, that I've run this far today. I've gone, what was it, 19 million steps today or something, which I'll get back into later, but you'll see why I touched upon it. And he's got nothing on his wrist, but he's still like looking at his wrist, tapping his foot. If they've done that by design, which I hope they have, it's very similar to how the character model of Sonic used to, just sort of like stand there, tapping his foot, looking at his watch for the time, when you stopped playing him in the actual games, because he did that because he's a super speedy character. He's meant to be moving around all the time, and he's doing like he's looking really bored because he's got nothing to do. If it's a callback to that, I'll forgive them I'll forgive them for choosing to give Sonic Blue Lightning. I'll forgive them for that. Um, but otherwise, it is a completely awful thing. It really is. Um, yeah. Uh, yeah, so those are the only two redeeming factors that I found in that trailer. I know it's not targeted at my sort of aged demographic, which I understand. But at the same time, they've got to consider that there are Sonic fans probably, what, in their 40s, 20s, whatever, even, hell, even my age. And, while they can't, exactly make it a PG-13 film, uh, it's still like worthwhile considering making some like good humor, some decent quality animation for it. And yeah. Anyway, and just quickly touching on what I talked about earlier in the first attempt, in the first live stream attempt before it kind of crashed on me. Um, the uh, as I said, appalling character design because he's still got the hedgehog thorns, but he somehow looks like hair, almost like hairy, like a mixture of hairy and furry. It's really weird. The second thing is his the coloring. It's not that hard to mess up Sonic because you're blue. Sonic Sonic's a primarily blue colored character. With slight changes in the form of variations, sorry, in the form of his like look in his face, because his face has got like the cream coloring to it, and his chest also has a very similar, at least I think it is, uh, cre cream sort of coloring. And it's not in the trailer. It's white. He's got like a white chest, which is very annoying for me because it's a Sonic fan. Um, and anyway, that's a little bug though, so I can forgive that. The biggest one for me is his hands and his shoes. Another big character design of Sonic is his hands and his shoes. They're sorry, correction, his gloves and his shoes. His gloves are very Mickey Mouse like. All right, they're very Mickey Mouse like. They're very sort of like they're big. They're much bigger than you think, but they're very comedic. Same with his shoes. They're very sort of plain, streamlined kind of thing. Very sort of, like shiny, just sort of like, oh, we've got a very speedy character, we're gonna try and make him as sort of comic as possible. So we're gonna add these big red shoes that he has. Yeah, and yeah, they hashed it up by giving him tiny hands with white coloring to them, and oh, what else did they do? Tiny hands with white coloring. And I think that's everything really. To be fair, that was covered in the trailer. That was sorry shown in the trailer. Um, yeah, I think that's it. That is it. I don't know how long this one's been, but the my first attempt at this, the original attempt, was about 36 minutes long. Um, and that was just me basically ranting and raving about it. Yeah, the only reason why I think it was slightly longer than this, however long this has been going on for, uh, oh god, I really should stop. Is because it's because I had the trailer up next to me. I am for reasons obviously because it's a live stream. I've got the live stream up in front of me just so I can make sure everything's working okay. Make sure that it's all working fine, that sort of thing. But yeah, But yeah, it was awful. Oh, that was it as well. That was it. Before I go, that was the other thing. The fact that the spikes that he leaves, the thistles, the pricks, whatever you want to call them. I'm going to call them pricks. And I'm not just talking about Sega. That was the other thing. I'll come back to that in a second. Uh, the thorns that the pricks that he leaves, they still like give off that blue lightning, that energy. And why? Why they're not connected to the source conductor in this case, Sonic. Um, so why they still have that energy, that electricity, is beyond me. It's it is very bizarre. Um, the second thing, which very much surprised me, considering like the downhill quality that they've been going at recently, um, Sonic Team. Sonic Team was mysteriously absent from the development of this. Which, I think, which to be honest, surprises. As I said, considering the downhill quality of Sonic games that they've been making. Not up to, but including Sonic 06, which I'd rather play than probably see this film. I actually remember after watching it, I think for the second time for the nitpicking, I said I'd rather play and finish Assassin's Creed 3 three times, funnily enough, three times, rather than pay the 10.60 whatever it is for an adult ticket in Cineworld and Hinckley for that to watch that film. I mean, alright, I'll be honest. There's not a lot of films uh, that I don't think I've hated, right from the get-go. I mean, I've had a few. I've definitely had a few which I've been like, yeah, no, these aren't gonna fly. But yeah, but I do think this is definitely going to be one to read the reviews on before going to see. As I said, I'll link I'll link the trailer in the description, just to just for you guys to watch, and for you guys to give your own points of view and opinion in the comments. Also, as with the last one, let me know in the comments as well whether or not whether or not I should, sorry, consider creating and streaming from Twitch rather than from YouTube. It does mean that you guys won't get the live streams, which I've only done a couple, but it will mean that I think it will mean that I may get a little bit of a wider audience, which will be better for me. And of course, it will mean that it's better for you guys, because then that means that hopefully I can improve the quality of what you guys watch. So let me know in the comments what I should do in regards to that. Let me know in the comments your opinion on the trailer and what you thought they could have changed, what they could have added. Yeah. So I am Gamer7. This has been my review of the Sonic the Hedgehog film, and I will catch you all in the next video. Until then, ta-ra.